Welcome, wrestling fans. The snow is on the ground. It's cold outside, and that can only mean one thing. Wrestling season has begun, and this is our third season of the show we call The Takedown. And what could be better than a three-point takedown? To start the season off, we were down at Clear Fork High School at the North Central Ohio Wrestling Officials Association All-Star Preview. And man, was it a good one. As always, the folks at Clear Fork do a great job with the atmosphere in the gymnasium. It was rocking like it was in the middle of the season. Some guys that stuck out for me right away. The Galleon's Grady Harding and Ryder Alberty look like they're in mid-season form and are ready for a late season push already. Madison's Jackson Stancomb is the number 2 ranked heavyweight in Division I. He put on a clinic and he was my MVP of the night. And Madison is really building a nice roster around him. They continue to improve and get better, and I'm so impressed with the Rams and the improvement they've made over the years. Clear Fork, obviously, solid guys up and down their lineup, always do, they're always deep. Clear Fork always puts guys on the mat who can compete, and that's highlighted by Clear Fork's Anthony Oscar, who put an absolute snap-down clinic on. What a great way to start the year at Clear Fork High School for the NCOWOA All-Star Preview. Speaking of Clear Fork High School, I have their head coach, Nick Allerding, here to join us on a first interview of Season 3 of The Takedown. Coach Allerding, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, kicking this interview off, I want to talk a little bit about your team. Specifically, let's touch on Anthony Oscar, following up an incredible freshman campaign, heading into his sophomore year. What are some things you felt like he's addressed in the off season? Because I'm sure he has his eyes on the very top prize in Division II at his weight class.
Yeah, Anthony had a really good off season. Just kind of focusing on development. From that freshman to sophomore year, he's still kind of a baby as far as his age goes. So just focus on strength development, continuing his technique development, and just kind of that mental development, developing that toughness and mentality. That approach has been kind of a big focus for him.
One thing I've noticed about guys like Oscar, and you have guys like that in a lot of rooms, is there's a ripple effect that happens in the wrestling room. When you have one guy that's a really high achiever, especially at such a young age, it can really force the other guys around him to improve. A lot of times just because he's beating on them every day. It makes him better every day. So what are the ripple effects that you've seen from having a guy like that in your room?
One thing that's great with Anthony is that he is so committed. So having, an athlete the caliber of Anthony, that he is committed, he listens, he does everything you ask of him, right? That, as a coach, that makes everything smooth, and it's kind of how it operates within the program. And then as far as just in the room, partners are, immeasurable on kind of what that value does, right? Having the partners a push. So obviously he's the guy that everybody else in the room's trying to compete with, trying to catch up with, trying to score on, and he's got to try to kind of establish his status and maintain his level of being that top guy in the room with all those guys that are really good too, pushing him every day. So it works good both ways when you have those partners available within the room.
One thing I've noticed about your team throughout the years, I've been covering the wrestling in the area my third year now, is you guys always seem to fill out your weight classes with guys who can compete day in and day out. And then you have those guys who are ready to take that next step to win state championships and place the state. Who should we be on the lookout for this year from the Clear Fork Colts to be able to take that next step, to go from a guy that can win matches every week to a guy that can place at district, go to state and make some noise?
I think we got a few of those guys to pick from. That sophomore class, a couple of them ready to kind of break on the scene. You got guys like Luke Lee and Connor Bailey. Like I said, we had move in from Mount Vernon, Caleb Snyder. He's already kind of established, but he's gonna have a great year. His growth has only been good here in the off season. And then the other big one, I think, that kind of fits your kind of guy that was competing, ready to kind of take that jump into the next level, I think, is Alex Slosher at eventually he's going to try to get out of 190, but he's wrestling really well, ready to kind of take that jump and, from, like I said, a guy that competes hard, wrestles hard, to, that next level, making that state tournament, try to podium down there at the state tournament.
Speaking of your schedule, you guys always do the best assembly duel I've ever seen. Do you guys have another one coming up this year?
We do. So we're hosting Madison down the road again this year. So we'll be at Ontario, and then we'll host Madison February 13th to kind of wrap up that final regular season event. So yeah, ADB already just broke off. That's her wheelhouse. She does an awesome job, as well as the rest of our administration, in getting all that stuff set up and making that environment top notch. It's just, like I said, kids look forward to it every year, and it's just fun every year.
Well, it's not only the environment, but the way the student body responds. I've been to other assembly duels where they've had an environment that's comparable to what you folks put on as far as infrastructure, but the student body comes in and they're on their feet going crazy the whole time, which is the best part, and that's got to make you feel so proud to be a part of that kind of community.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, same thing with, Jess does a great job. We get those guys at the football games, at the basketball games. That student body follows and it brings that support. And it's awesome. It's kind of came into the world of wrestling where that student body has come, and they're excited. I got teachers and students asking me all year, hey, what's the date? When's the assembly duel this year? They're excited for it. So just having that support within the school, and then it kind of permeate out to the community is just awesome and just so much fun.
Switching gears on you a little bit now, I always love looking forward to the MOAC